Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, I hope you had a chance to attend some of the May Day rallies that were held all across America. We had one out here in a small town called Berryville, Virginia, and a whole bunch of democracy warriors showed up and participated. And I'll show you a clip of the protest of the rally in just a minute. But next up, the No Kings rally in D.C. and all across America. Here's what indivisible.org said about the upcoming No Kings Day. No Kings, on June 14, as Trump throws himself a $100 million military parade in D.C., we're going to be rising up with protests all across the country. Join us to reject Trump's authoritarian vision and to show the wannabe king what democracy looks like. So friends, you can go to indivisible.org or mobilize.us to learn more about the No Kings Day rallies. I will put links to those organizations in the description of this video, because no matter how Donald Trump views himself, ain't no damn kings here in America. Now friends, here is some footage from the May Day rally in Berryville.
I want to introduce our special guest today. He has a daily YouTube show which discusses the outrages of the Trump administration and the Department of Justice. Glenn Kirshner is here. Glenn Kirshner has 999,000 subscribers on YouTube. And you need to go on his channel, Justice Matters, and subscribe so that he gets over 1 million subscribers. How y'all doing? Yeah? First of all, can we give it up for the band? See, what I love is they're playing the old protest standards, right? And everything old is new again, because this is what democracy looks like right here. So yeah, let's support the band. They were at the Hands Off rally in Leesburg. So, and they're kicking it again today. Yeah, I'm Glenn Kirshner. So if you've seen me anywhere, it's either having lunch at the Tuscarora Mill or at Shoes Cup and Cork in downtown Leesburg, because that's where I'm a Leesburg guy. And I'm happy to come up the street, and I am thrilled that Brent invited me. And it's an honor to talk with you all today, because this is what the future looks like. This is how we're going to take back our democracy. And, you know, I don't say that lightly. I'm not a politician. I'm a rule of law guy. So the other place you might have seen me is on MSNBC. I worked with them for 6.5 years, and I asked to leave my contract 6 months early because, one, I decided to be done with corporate media, legacy media, mainstream media, because I'm not trying to beat up on my friends at MSNBC or elsewhere, but they've let us down because they haven't covered Donald Trump the way journalism should have been covering Donald Trump. And I also left MSNBC because I decided I was going to try to go on sort of center-right networks, not as a paid legal analyst the way I was with MSNBC, but free of charge to talk about the rule of law, the way you see guys like Pete Buttigieg and Eric Swalwell and others. I'm trying to follow their lead because, listen, in America, I have never believed it's us and them. I've just believed it's us. It's all us. Different kinds of us, different flavors of us, you know, people with different priorities and ideologies and political affiliations, but it's all us. But the chasm right now is huge, huge and deep. But we have to try to talk and listen across the Great Divide, because it's always going to be us. And I'll circle back to that in a minute. You know, May Day is a time that, yes, we celebrate labor, organized labor, the workers, but it's also, May 1st is also Law Day. right? 1958, President Eisenhower established Law Day. Why? Because the rule of law is necessary to a viable democracy. Not just a healthy democracy, but a viable democracy. And right now, the rule of law is under attack. Donald Trump and his consigliere, Pam Bondi, are trying to walk the rule of law deep into the woods and shoot it dead. And we're not going to let them. And I've been a rule of law guy all my life. I started in the 80s as an Army JAG on active duty handling court-martial cases. I left the Army after 6.5 years as an Army prosecutor. I joined the Department of Justice, spent 24 years there, handling, among other things, murder cases and RICO cases in the courts of Washington, D.C., until I retired in 2018. Can I tell you, this is not what I had on my bingo card when I retired. I didn't think I would be joining you all as a free agent democracy warrior trying to save the rule of law and the Constitution, but that is what we've been called to do. So I want to take a minute talking about how the rule of law is under attack, and I'm also going to try to pull into it how I think the media should be covering the attack on the rule of law by Donald Trump and Pam Bondi. So Pam Bondi, you may have heard recently, say that the judges in this country are deranged. They're deranged. And what does Donald Trump call the judges? Lunatic, left-wing, radical judges. Right? Why? Well, because Donald Trump is losing in virtually every court case from coast to coast every day. So what does he do? He has to attack the judges, and he has to send his consigliere to attack the judges. I just wish reporters would ask Pam Bondi. A.G. Bondi, you say that the judges are deranged, and that's really what's going on. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Judge John Coffenauer, federal judge, who was one of the first ones to rule in a Trump-related case during Trump 2, the horrific sequel that we're all living through. And when Donald Trump signed an executive order trying to revoke the constitutional guarantee of birthright citizenship, Judge John Coffenauer said what he did was, quote, blatantly unconstitutional. You know who appointed Judge Coffenauer? Ronald Reagan. Is Judge Coffenauer deranged, A.G. Bondi? Don't answer yet. Don't answer yet. What about Judge Harvey Wilkinson, Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, who recently said in the Abrego Garcia case that if the Trump administration can unconstitutionally deport Abrego Garcia, it can unconstitutionally deport American citizens, and it can unconstitutionally deport Trump's political enemies. You know who appointed Judge Wilkinson? Ronald Reagan. Is Judge Wilkinson a deranged judge, A.G. Bondi? Wait a minute, before you answer. How about Judge McFadden? Let's just pick another judge out of the hat. D.C. federal court judge, former colleague of mine at the U.S. Attorney's Office in D.C. He just ruled that Donald Trump violated the First Amendment by trying to prohibit the AP, Associated Press reporters, from participating in White House press conferences and events. Let's see A.G. Bondi, who, I can outshout the train, who, I'm a Jersey guy, I'm just trying hard not to cuss. That's the hardest thing for a Jersey guy. Don't cuss, don't cuss. Oh, fuck it. Forget about it. So, A.G. Bondi, do you know who appointed Trevor McFadden? Anybody? Donald Trump. Is Trevor McFadden deranged? I got another one for you, A.G. Bondi. What about Judge Terry Dowdy, down in Louisiana, who just said, oh, this one is bad. When the Trump administration deported a 2-year-old U.S. citizen, they very likely violated that 2-year-old's constitutional due process rights. A.G. Bondi, do you want to take a crack at who appointed Judge Dowdy? Ronald Reagan. Is he deranged? Not Ronald Reagan, Donald Trump. Is he a deranged judge? Just the last one, because Brent already previewed it. You know what happened today? A federal court judge in Texas, Judge Fernando Rodriguez, ruled that Donald Trump cannot deport any Venezuelans under the Alien Enemies Act because it's unconstitutional. We're not at war with Venezuela or Tren de Aragua. We are not at war with anybody. So the judge said, you can't detain a Venezuelan. You can't transport a Venezuelan from one confinement facility to another inside the United States, and you sure as hell, the judge didn't say hell, that's my editorial addition, you sure as hell cannot deport Venezuelans to El Salvador or anywhere else. And that, Judge Rodriguez was appointed by Donald Trump. And yet Pam Bondi says these are deranged judges. So my last question for AG Bondi in this press conference, should I ever have the opportunity to participate, is then why is Donald Trump appointing deranged judges? Because he's not. Because Pam Bondi is the one who is behaving a little deranged. And Donald Trump is full of you-know-what when he says all these judges are radical left lunatics, including all of the judges that he's... That's a legal term, I think. That's a legal term. So, yes, the rule of law is under attack, but the federal judiciary is holding strong. They're standing up. And here's the thing. I really believe Donald Trump is spinning out of control. He's getting weaker, not stronger. He's getting more desperate, not more confident. And he's going to continue to overplay his hand. And eventually, so many people will turn against him that maybe even some of the Republicans in Congress, because now I want to talk about going across the Great Divide, and this is what I want to finish up with. So we all heard Senator Lisa Murkowski recently articulate and speak for her fellow Republicans in Congress when she said, and I quote, "We are all afraid." And I'm so glad she said that. And I don't demean it, and I sure don't mock it, because she spoke the truth. Maybe they're also not terribly patriotic. Maybe they also don't care so much about protecting democracy or representing their constituents, but they're afraid. They're afraid. But here's the thing. There have been other times in our nation's history when our union was at risk, and people were afraid, right? But what those people did is they picked up muskets and muzzle-loaded rifles, and they walked out onto open, grassy fields, and they put life and limb on the line, and they fought sometimes brother on brother, and they saved the Union. Those were our ancestors. We don't know them, but we know they were afraid. And yet, what did they do? They overcame their fear, and they saved the Republic. And here's the good news. Senator Murkowski and all of the Republicans in Congress, who I will never stop speaking to and listening to, even though I disagree with them on virtually all policy matters. You all don't have to pick up firearms and walk out onto grassy fields and fight brother on brother or sister on sister. All you have to do is cross the aisle to save democracy. Just cross the aisle to save democracy. You can overcome your fear if they overcame their fear and saved the Union. And I know I shouldn't throw a riddle into it, but I mean, why did the chicken cross the aisle? To save democracy. We can do it, you can do it, they can do it. You know, we are all in this mess together, and that's the way we're going to win it, together. So thank you all for being here. This is a heck of a crowd for Berryville or anywhere else, so thank you all.
Thank you, Glenn. Speaking truth to power. Thanks very much.